time trial is about, I say, 60, 70, 80% about your mind.
Come on, Fabian, come on. Let's go.
It takes concentration, it takes patience, it takes confidence. And if you're lacking in any of those three areas, then you're going to have problems.
You go deep, you go max, you go full gas, you go over your limit. But to reach something high, you need to be ready for this pain.
Call it the race of truth because it's basically against yourself and you can't lie to yourself.
If you don't hurt in a time trial, because you're not going fast, that's for sure.
You have to sacrifice, suffer so much that you have done everything what you could for this 1 hour effort, half an hour effort, how long this effort is actually.
Come on, let's pass this guy. Come on, let's pass it now. Come on, go after. Keep it up. That's it.
There's no secret in this, you know. If you want to win, you have to go faster than everybody else.
Yeah, it's a performance. It's a performance that the cyclist has to do sometimes.
It's you against the clock, and the clock always wins, though.
It's a hard thing. It's very difficult. A lot of concentration, determination. Yeah.
I love it actually.
Well, time trial is a very strange discipline in the sport where a rider has to ride over the measured distance on his own, and that's pretty much all there is, and it's you against yourself against the clock.
The great thing about the time trial is that you generally get the result you deserve. So unlike in the road race where the peloton can work for you or against you, with a time trial, it's down to you.
Everything that you do or sometimes don't do can affect the outcome of the race.
In the stage race, you can hide in the wheels and you can hide in the slipstream of other riders for a week or 2 weeks, but eventually when you come to the individual time trial, you have to come out and fight for yourself.
The time trial. A race from A to B. Sounds simple. Don't you believe it? To ride and win, you must be powerful, well-fueled, highly focused, and prepared to push your body to the very limits. And against the clock, there is one undisputed king. Fabian Cancellara. World champion, Olympic champion, and one of the most natural talents time trialing has ever seen.
Fabian Cancellara's got a number of skills. First of all, he has that ability to push himself right up to the limit of his pain barrier, to get his heart rate right up to maximum and hold it there for a long period of time. But on top of that, he's got incredible power. He's a very powerful rider.
He's changing rhythm from flat to climbing and back again. It's just exceptional. There, he has a huge advantage.
He's probably one of the best bike handlers in the world. So if you get a technical course, he's as good on a technical course as he is on the drag strip.
Fabian just possesses bike handling skills, focus, concentration, and raw power. And when you get all those factors together in one package like you do with Fabian Cancellara, there's no wonder why he is world and Olympic champion.
In this film, we join Fabian and Team Saxo Bank for exclusive access into their world, as they show you how to train, prepare for, fuel, and ride your ultimate time trial. Whether you're an experienced rider or new to the sport, we'll help you shave minutes off your time and teach you how to get the best results from your bike and body. It's May 2010, and we are at the Amgen Tour of California. Team Saxo Bank are riding and have allowed us to tag along. A grueling 8 stages will take the Pro Tour riders across the west coast of America, culminating with a potentially race-winning time trial stage in downtown LA. 5 years old now, the Amgen Tour is the biggest cycle race in North America, and a host of European talent is on show. Whether your time trial takes place in the middle of a stage race or you are preparing for a single-day event, there is a lot that you can do to make yourself go faster.
Preparation and race day focus is definitely important. You can be as focused as you want to be or as focused as you can, but if you didn't do the preparation, you'll be lost.
The basic rule of training is to be specific. Riding a time trial takes a certain type of effort, and there is only one way of preparing for it.
Yeah, I need to train and train and train.
Train and train and train.
Train and train and to adapt and to adapt. That's those two things counting so much. I mean, the training,
Go out, do time trials and training.
to get the condition, and then when you have the condition, you can also doing a certain performance.
Train your concentration in training, and I think that's something you just need to do to be better. Come on, Fabian, come on. It's very nice, very nice.
First off, you have to make sure that your training is correct. That you've done your intervals, that you're happy with your form, that you're comfortable, that you understand the watts that you have to be pushing.
A 5 minutes threshold, and then 5 minutes under the threshold, and then 5 minutes again in threshold, and then 5 minutes low.
Find a parkour that you always do, and then go at least one time a week on that parkour, and try to beat your record.
I do sometimes many hours behind the scooter with the time trial bike, and you do sometimes you see, okay, I'm done 2 hours, and you did 90 kilometers.
So, the best riders in the world train specifically for their event. But for now, let's assume that you are fit and healthy. There are a whole host of other things you can do to make yourself go faster. And they start with the bike. Time trial bikes are the bling of the cycling world. Futuristic, fast and exciting, they're designed to be aerodynamic, but their real purpose is to get the body into a streamlined position.
We talk about the aerodynamics of bicycles. Well, that's not really what's important. The most important thing is to get the body into an aerodynamic position.
The athlete's position on the bike accounts for about 98% of the aerodynamic drag. The wheels and the bike only account for about 2% aerodynamic drag.
Riders invest a lot of money in getting the right equipment, but nowadays what's more important is actually spending time in a wind tunnel so that you can get your body into an aerodynamic position.
The most aerodynamic position on a bike can also be difficult to ride in. The only way to get used to a time trial bike is to ride one, something Fabian takes to heart.
I remember really well, my longest ride on a time trial bike was 6.5 hours. And but then the day after, okay, you had pain and the muscles was used differently because the position is different, but in a way it was helping me this, because it's not wrong to train long, but maybe the 6.5 hours once was a bit too much, but even you do 4 hours or 3 hours, that's not wrong. Even when it's time trial only 1 hour, normally 1 hour 10 or half an hour or even 10 minutes, whatever.
The one thing all this time riding a time trial bike has taught us is that when searching for the ultimate position, aerodynamics are just part of the equation.
The last few years I find out that it's not all about aerodynamic. Aerodynamic is really important, but as I'm a rider and my whole body is quite big, I have to find the level between aerodynamic and also comfortable position and breathing.
The most aerodynamic position is like a ski racer, but you've got to still be able to retain the power.
You can't sit so low that in the end you can't breathe. I mean, you need to breathe to give power and to push. I mean, otherwise you go nowhere.
Kind of have a good balance between high power output and low drag against that.
I was in the wind tunnel, I did some testing outside, and I see now I'm higher than the other years, but I feel comfortable, and I feel in a way sometimes I have more power and I can give more, and that's good.
The next stage of preparation is to think about where you ride. Getting to know the course can save banks of time.
You want to see the parkour, that's sometimes more important than the warm-up.
You know, you have to go out and ride for an hour, hour and a half, preferably over the course.
It's a flat, it's a hilly, it's up and down, it's a lot of rhythm changing.
Every corner you can lose a lot of seconds, every climb you can lose a second, downhill you can win seconds.
It's also safety reasons, because maybe there's some corners, so you're seeing the roads, how they are, the asphalt. We have to make a little tactic.
You are trained, you are used to riding your time trial bike, and if you don't know the course yet, you are planning to ride around it on the day of the event. It's now time to think about food. What you eat on a daily basis is obviously important, but if you are racing hard or training hard leading up to your event, it becomes vital.
Most of the things that can go wrong on race day is improper nutrition or improper eating habits. So many guys eat the wrong things before a time trial. Guys forget to eat because they think, oh, okay, it's only 20K, I don't have to eat a meal. But you really have to get your routine down and have it become almost like second nature.
And then the thing,
it's like a weapon. I mean, you eat bad stuff, you not will get results on the races. I mean, you have to eat good stuff, organic and quality stuff. You have to look after your vitamins, your minerals. It's the same, you have a car and you fill bad stuff in. I mean, this car is going nowhere.
Today's stage is the last before the time trial. It's the longest of the Tour of California, 135 miles, finishing 4,000 meters above sea level in Big Bear Lake.
Should be fun, interesting. How many colors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5.
The riders have a long day ahead of them. And with tomorrow's time trial in mind, they will need a lot of energy.
Everything is on the table, so before the race they take what they want. Some guys want a lot of shells, some prefer more bars, so they can take what they want. So that's easy for them. You don't make like something ready for them, they just take it.
It's really difficult to be adequately fueled and hydrated if you're not using the scientifically produced energy drinks and gels. Using the gels, bars and the energy drinks really enables you to get the most from your performance.
So normally like a race like today, 200K, that's 2 bars, 3 gels and a bottle of sugar and a bottle of water.
Leaving the towns behind, the race journeys through almost desert-like plains, before starting the final 25-mile climb. It's one of California's hottest days of the year so far, and 6 hours after leaving Palmdale, the riders are only now nearing the finish. At the end of this epic stage, there is no doubt that these riders will be tired. But whatever you do before the day of your time trial, the biggest single nutritional goal is to recover.
Most elite sports people make a good recovery drink part of their ritual for sports performance. The right combination of protein and carbohydrate, maybe with some vitamins and minerals immediately after, will not only ensure that you're fueled up for your next training session, but also do a lot to protect your immune function so that you're not getting sick.
Recovery products, especially the protein shake after the race, has revolutionized recuperation in my point of view. Now you get back from a ride and the first thing that you do is down a shake, which has a lot of really good things that are going to help you recover faster.
Recovery starts or a very important part of recovery starts within the first 30 minutes after the effort. So that's the first thing you do, first step to get your metabolism to recover and get some fresh energy into your body. Chocolate is my favorite.
You've invested the time and effort in doing the training, then using the right recovery drink only makes sense to make sure you get the full benefit of that training session.
For Fabian, today's stage has been a tough one. And with only 20 hours to go before the time trial, his recovery ritual is key.
These 2 hours after race have to be so dedicated of everything what you do. You come out of the shower, you have maybe air conditioners blowing in your face. You can get sick about that. Believe me. You can get sick, and that's the reason every single things have to be controlled, have to be done right way, that you get over that. And as more as professionally doing, as longer you can keep your form, your condition, or you can even come in better on a big condition.
I always say, this is pain. Pain is only temporary today. Get over that. Hey, how long have you been riding on 2,000 meters? It's like,
Yeah, you couldn't breathe.
So we've been working with SIS for about 2-3 years now. And just in the last year and a half, we've really been able to benefit more from the other products that SIS makes. We got the products in the rider's hands, we tested them, we've been much better informed on the company that we're representing, and the guys' results kind of speak for themselves.
We have such a good sponsor, they have different things, and that's good because most of the sponsors, they have maybe 1 or 2 things, but these 1 or 2 things, they're not enough.
but it's good. Because when you're good again, you look back and say, these moments you need in your life, huh? Couldn't chose a better day, believe me. Bobby J. You've seen a lot in your life, but today,
I'm more tired than you guys are.
yeah, come on.
Not only like minerals or like sugar, you need some glutamine, some beta-alanine, you need different small things, and that's important because your body is burning, but it's not burning sugar or minerals, it's burning more than that, and that's, you have to give back, and that's really, really important because for doing 100% performances, you need to have the right stuff, and that's we have.
It's the last few days before your race. You are fit, you have been eating well, and you are starting to rest. But how much should you rest? And should you stop riding completely?
I found out now over the years that to be honestly like too relaxed on a time trial, that's personally for me not good.
We call it in the world of cycling being blocked.
Sometimes you start and suddenly in the race you feel like your heart rate is so high, but your muscle, they can't coming. I mean, they delayed coming. For me, it's like I'm too recovered.
There's a real fine line about being fresh and being too rested, because you definitely have to keep the motor running without the fear of blowing up.
I need to have a few efforts, a
few days before?
The day before the TT itself, you would like to have a little ride and some leg openers, so 1 or 2 times some efforts to get going, to get the tension in the muscle, maybe some sprinting, short ones like 8-10 seconds, 2-3 times.
Nothing too long, nothing too crazy, but something just to prime the motor a little bit. You know, just keep it running, get it online, and of course it's going to hurt because you've been tapering down possibly, but to kind of take yourself up at least close to your threshold to blow out the pipes a little bit to get the system back online is very, very important.
Normally most of the best performance ever I'm doing, or they've been done from my side, they've been always that I was a bit tired, but the good tired, and not the tired that you can't do a good performance anymore.
It's the morning of your race, and having a well thought out routine is going to make a huge difference. And it all starts with your food.
A lot of the guys, if they're preparing for a really important time trial, they like to get up, have a regular breakfast, so the usual high carbohydrate race breakfast, ready to get the glycogen stores, the carbohydrate stores fully topped up.
You need to have pasta, rice, or you have an omelette.
Maybe a little bit of chicken or turkey, but definitely not any real steak or red meat.
You can't drink any Coke or sugar stuff before a time trial. It's not good.
That's the thing, the most important things I work on with the young riders on the team is just getting them into the routine. Because the last thing you need is having everything going good and then having some sort of digestive issue because you didn't eat correctly before the race.
Once your feeding routine is sorted, the next thing to think about is your warm-up.
The actual warm-up on race day is monumental. That is very, very important. It's very personal as well. You need to learn what it takes to get your body ready. Does it take 15 minutes? Does it take an hour? Does it take an hour and a half? To get everything ready, to get the body warm, to get it into almost a pre-fatigued state.
The guy that explained it to me in a very understandable way was Chris Portman. And he said, you want to race your muscle temperature. You want to make your body ready, but not tired. So you gotta have to find balance. Too much, you already get into your reserves. You don't want it. You want to be ready and fresh at the start. So it's about short, a little bit of intensity to get the muscles, work a little bit, and off you go. In general speaking, short time trial, long warm-up, a longer time trial, you need a shorter warm-up.
You need to have the lactate in the muscles and you need to activate the transportation of this lactate in the muscles. And this is done by high effort intervals, like 30 to 20 minutes before the time trial starts.
Just for a very short amount of time, go up to your aerobic threshold or anaerobic threshold to give your body like a little bit of feeling what's coming next, what to expect. And then, yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. No worries.
It's really hard to start a time trial from zero and go even up to your threshold without feeling major lactic acid. But when you slowly progress through your zones up to your threshold, then it's a much easier jump. You know, it's basically going from 50 to 60 miles an hour instead of 0 to 65 in one shot.
So, to warm up well, you need to try pretty hard. But that creates its own problem.
In order to be fully tuned up and ready to go, you need to do a good hard warm-up. If you do a good hard warm-up, you're dehydrating and using up your carbohydrate stores that you really want for the race. So you really need to be prepared to take on board your extra carbohydrate while you're warming up and not forget about this.
The real key is to coming up with a routine of electrolyte replacement, sugar replacement, and so many guys forget to do that when they're warming up because they said, oh, I'm not racing, I'm just warming up.
This is where a lot of amateurs maybe fall down, and there's seen some reports that show that a lot of more recreational athletes maybe haven't eaten for 2 or 3 hours when they hit the start line.
When I started racing 25 years ago, it was eating a banana before a time trial, you know, or even worse. You know, some guys would eat donuts and, you know, sandwiches. Now you basically have that same sort of caloric intake in a very easily digestible gel or drink, and it just makes it so much easier.
In a road race, maybe you haven't quite got your feet in red, you can maybe duck and dive a little bit, hide in the bunch, take on some extra bars. In a time trial, if you haven't got that right beforehand, you're on your back foot.
In no way, shape, or form do you want to be hungry or depleted in any minerals when you're starting the time trial, because naturally, once the time trial starts, there's not much you can do about being hungry or losing electrolytes. It's going to happen.
So you need to start with a full tank of gas, ideally finish with an empty tank of gas.
You're off. You're fully fueled, but about to lose vital liquid. What should you do?
Most of the people, they don't take any beating. I mean, it goes so deep, so hard, and so long. There it's really hard to drink. Sometimes I'm the only rider that has a beating cage on with a bottle of water, because otherwise you get dehydrated straight away, and especially in the summers when it's 20, 25, 30 degrees. I mean, there you're happy. Even when you do a climb, I mean, I know in the Olympics, the water is counting.
As well as hydration, for longer events, drinking carbohydrate is important too.
Once you're into a 50-mile time trial or a 100-mile time trial, you're into glycogen stores being a limiting factor, and if you take on board extra fuel in terms of your gels and your drinks, you will go faster. The research shows that in a 25-mile time trial, it's maybe you're right on the limit there of whether the extra fuel is going to improve your performance. Even if you're not actually using that for fuel, there's some evidence that if you have the carbohydrate in your mouth, that your brain kind of senses the delivery of the carbohydrate and says, okay, you've got carbohydrate on its way, you can go faster.
Once your race has begun, there is one final thing to think about: pacing.
Well, pacing is monumental. You can't just sprint off the line and expect to hold 1,200 watts for more than a minute. But it's so funny how many people do try to do that.
Historically, the time trial isn't won in the first kilometer, it's won at the end, you know, and if you start off too hard, you have the ability to sort of ramp up your lactic acid and you don't clear it, and it's hard for you to come back from something like that.
You have to start and to go slowly but still fast, quite high, but you never actually arrive 100% on the limit for 1 hour or for 10 minutes, because when you ride on the limit, it's actually close to the end.
Very few times did I blow up in a time trial because I felt like I pretty much mastered my pace.
What is really important is you have to focus in the front and looking forward, and this limit is easy to reach.
You just have to practice and practice and practice until you get to a level where you know this is my limit, the limit that I can sustain for 30 minutes, for an hour, sometimes for an hour and a half. And that's difficult. That's difficult because it takes concentration, it takes patience, it takes confidence. And if you're lacking in any of those three areas, then you're going to have problems.
For me, the time trial is about, I say, 60, 70, 80% about your mind. And I mean, you sit on the bike, you push, but yeah, it hurts really. But we're always joking. I mean, we say, hey, pain is only temporary.
You need to have a little tactic. I mean, you can't go and say, full gas and 30 kilometers, and then the last 5K you blow up. I mean, that's not what you need to do. Also, what is important to use little things, and that's the mental part that pushes you, that keep you going, that believes that you can do a big performance.
When you're in a good shape and you see you can go fast, I mean, at 51, 52, 53, and then you have the car that says, hey, come on, 1k faster, and then you go to 54.5. It's only half, can only go faster, but this half maybe of 1 hour, it makes a big difference.
Even when the car, like the sports sector says, hey, try to go to the motorbike, pick up the motorbike. I mean, you're never gonna pick up normally the motorbike because it's always 200 meters in the front of you. But even this little word that says pick up the motorbike, it gives you this push that you try. It's normally impossible, but you try this.
You saw the limit, and you get this info from the car, or you try to even reach the riders in the front of you that you see probably. You say, I want to go, I want to chase him, I want to be faster, I want to be earlier in the finish than him, and that helps a lot. That helps a lot.
Come on. Out of the big one. Allez, full gas. Come on.